This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
2, 2. Check 2. Hello, 2, check. Chin chin, everybody. That hits the spot. Oh, that hits the spot. Very nice. How's it going, friends?
You can count on me. You're gonna have
Good afternoon, Husker.
To talk you through all this.
Just wanted to pop in and let everyone know, for no reason in particular, that it is National Hot Dog Day here in America.
10,000 sandwiches, thank you very much for the reminder and for the 32 months resub at tier 2. The question is, and 10,000 sandwiches, I want to hear your answer to this, is a hot dog a sandwich? That's the question. Husker, I wanted to say thank you. I saw that you gifted $5 the other day, which was very kind of you, and my fucking notifications are just totally broken. So it didn't trigger a notification. I did not say thank you. I'm saying it now. Husker do thank you for the $5 like 2 days ago. I really appreciated that. Very, very kind of you. I will not be commenting on that at this time. I actually just finished a really delicious leftover Turkish doner sandwich, which was really good. I had that last night. Hot dog talk is back. We got a whole week's worth of episodes without talking about hot dogs at once. Now we're back. We're back, baby. I was worried that the text-to-speech withheld because I made a funny 9/11 joke. No, it's my fucking... This racist creep teenager showed up a couple weeks ago and abused the text-to-speech feature, and then since trying to like make it so no one can do that anymore, now it just nothing works. Everything is broken. The sub counter is broken. And when you try to prevent text-to-speech in Streamlabs from saying the N-word repeatedly, it breaks all your notifications, apparently. I just don't know what to do. I have no idea how to get any of them back, how to make it work again. No clue whatsoever. Maybe one day I'll figure this out. No, I had a nice night last night. I went down to Parc La Fontaine here in Montreal. I met up with Andre Goulet of the Harbinger Media Network, some other fine individuals, part of the lefty media writing, podcasting community here in Montreal. And it was fun. I had a few beverages, let's say. I got on my way back a Turkish doner kebab sandwich, which I ate half of and which I just ate the other half. Lodane, by the way, thank you for the raid, and I hope the Lodane stream was good today. And that's good that Benny raided as well. That's nice. Nice of her. Nice of Benny. When do you plan on defecting? I'm not in a hurry, you know. I'm waiting for shit to start popping off a little bit more. I'm going to time my defection to when it's the most, has the most devastating consequences for the imperialists. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh, that's good. I will call Andre and tell him you're slacking if we don't fix these alerts. As we all know, he's the boss of the radio station we all work for. I just don't know what to do. Like, I've tried to go into the settings. I've tried to do all kinds of things. Fucking just nothing works now. And I don't even see how changing anything about the Streamlabs tip function even affected the sub counter, but apparently it did. I don't know. I don't understand this shit. I don't know about this look. I don't know about the hat and the purple shirt. I think I look like a 40-year-old man trying to look like a 7-year-old right now. I look like John Cena. I look like John Cena in this fit. With rippling muscles and all. You should see me without the shirt on. It's really something else. It's pretty wild. Oh shit, I think I have to change my video settings as well. I actually lost power for several hours this morning. It just came back. The power just came back on right before I started the stream. I don't even know why. It's like, it's one thing when the power goes out, when it's like there's a big ice storm or windstorm or rainstorm or something, but like it's kind of alarming when it just goes out when it's just a perfectly nice day and nothing's going on. This is just what this, I don't know. Montreal is just or a storm. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just impossible to know. So, but that's it. It's kind of alarming when that happens. Montreal is just becoming like a electricity sometimes city. Sometimes there's electricity. You should be thankful for the electricity when it's there. But if it's too hot, no electricity. If it's too cold, no. Windy, rainy, just totally temperate and moderate, no electricity. Great food city though, so, you know. You take what you can get. Electricity is really more of a luxury anyways. Like, you don't need electricity all the time when you think about it. You know? Who needs infrastructure repairs? Yeah. Maybe we should bury some of those wires so they don't have tree branches falling on them and all kinds of stuff. Thing is, to really appreciate electricity, you need to be without it at least 48. Yeah, like, there was a couple months ago in Montreal, there was this big, like, snowstorm, ice storm that knocked electricity out for a lot of people. And some people that I know didn't have electricity for like 3 or 4 days. And somehow, even though I lose power all the time, I somehow didn't that entire time. So who knows? I don't know. But you do really miss it when it goes out for any extended period. It's like, oh, it's funny to think about, like, if we ever, like, if there was ever, like, a widespread electricity shortage for, like, it's kind of a funny thought experiment to think about how long it would take for society to just completely unravel and collapse without electricity, like, on like a widespread level. Like, let's say a major metropolitan center, a Toronto, a New York City. I don't think it would be 6 hours, but I don't think it would be much longer than a week, though. You know, people lose electricity for a couple hours all the time, and it's fine, but 3 days? You know? 4 days? How long before there's just a total breakdown in society and the social order? It's a fun thought experiment. Speaking of tree branches, this came across my radar a second ago. Thought y'all might want to see it. Yeah, I saw that, yeah. Hang on, let me see, because there's a... The thing about trimming the trees, I did see that. Because I saw there was like a City of LA tweet that was like, oh, we're looking into this. It was like a looking into this kind of thing. That had like a comparison between the two. Yeah, here we go. Our office is investigating the tree trimming that occurred outside Universal Studios where workers, writers, and actors are exercising their right to picket. The trimmed trees are LA City managed street trees. Here's the before and after. So that's where they're picketing. And look at that. It's like, oh, we're going to get rid of all that. Tree law. That's right. Call in some tree law experts here. That's so fucking evil, though. I'm very tired, folks. I'm very tired. This Diet Coke is going to have to do a lot of work here. Safety hazard. They don't want the branches to fall on the strikers. Oh, that's very nice. That's very considerate of them. It's very considerate that there's make sure there's no danger of tree branches falling and hitting the striking workers. That's how much these people are thinking about the conditions leading people to these strikes in the first place. That's how much they care. The Hollywood elites. They just want people to be safe. That's all. Yeah, I'm going to have to wheel in some kind of like video content thing. I'm going to have to do the substitute teacher video maneuver. Let's see what we got there. There's a couple things that I would like to talk about today. There's more strike content that we can get into. There's more strike content. There's stuff about Israel that I wanted to get into as well. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff for us to take a look at. Rob, I need you on your Rain Prime and you're trying to phone in a substitute teacher. I'm going to throw the clipboard at the wall. I'm sorry, Lodane. I'm sorry. It was a late night, okay? I went a little bit over my normal allotted number of drinks, which is usually capped at about 2 or 3. And I think I did probably end up having about 6 or 7 last night. which at my age now is just like a just totally obscene amount for me to be consuming, a totally obscene amount of alcohol to be consuming in one evening. It was fun. It was nice. You know, it's good to go out and see people. It's good. I probably don't do it enough. New stream character, Hungover Rob. The new character everyone's talking about. Everyone's talking about this exciting new peripheral character in the Rob verse. Enter the Rob verse. What did everyone else do last night? I got absolutely hammered on Saturday at Hope Volleyball, and I'm only just starting to feel fully human again. God, when I think about the kind of shit that I used to do with my body, it's like, I don't even know. I genuinely don't even know how. I genuinely don't even know how I am not dead. Babe, wake up. New Rob just dropped. Everyone loves all these new characters popping up. I set up an IKEA desk and got ice cream. That sounds very nice. What kind of ice cream did you get, Sasha? Do you know what I had the other night? I was really like on one. At 30, the body's begging you to stop drinking. It's really insistent, actually. Enjoyed a rare smoke-free nice day. Had a nice bike ride. That's nice. Fucked around on Blue Sky. That's also nice. Mint chocolate chip. Love it. You going to be able to make movie night? Yeah, of course. Movie night, of course, in the TRRS Discord tonight is one of my favorite films of all time. Spike Jonze's adaptation. Which I'm really, really looking forward to. I'm just going to have to try and like work some dad magic to get my kid to go to bed in time for me to catch it.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Gang.
Thanks for the 200 friend coin, though, Dane. Ice cream, so good. White Claw, so good. Going to the bar Friday and Saturday when I was 19, early 20 seems insane to me now. Yeah, it's like I was fucking every Wednesday at Jupiter Room in Montreal without fail, and then also going out on the weekend to whatever crazy shit I was doing then as well. Don't know how I did it. To say nothing of like the touring, like the band touring lifestyle and the kind of stuff that goes on there. Because then it's like, you know, you wake up, you're on tour, and you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm so tired and hungover. You know what? I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm not going to drink. I'm tired. I'm going to take the night off. I'm not going to have anything to drink. I'm just going to have a nice chill evening. And then you like drive around all day. And you get to a venue and you walk in the venue and you see this big like tub of like ice cold beers at your destination, and you're just like, oh, hello. Tsk. Glug, 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 glug. I just wanted to NPC you. That's okay. You can feel free. People can feel free to NPC me. I was mentioning it yesterday, I don't think you were here, Lodane, but another like news streamer was trying to do the NPC thing and it was nowhere near as good. You realize it's difficult. Like, it's like we can mock it. Is it Pinky Doll? I already forgot her name. We can mock it though, but it's like the intonation is exactly the same for every gesture. Like, you could take the wave files and like sync them up and it would be the fucking same thing every single time. Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good. Respect the game. You have to. You do have to. I saw she was going for 5 hours the other day. Respectfully, I would rather die. Well, me too. I mean, even just doing this stream for 5 hours is mentally and physically taxing as well. But if I was just responding to chat stimuli for those 5 hours, that would maybe be... That's got to do something to your brain, you know? She might be a good auctioneer. Yeah, totally. I think I was saying something like 5 minutes ago and then I got off track. But, movie night. Movie night tonight. When is it? Are you in the Discord, folks? If you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get in there. We got adaptation tonight, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Such a wonderful film. Such a wonderful film that I'm looking forward to watching with everyone this evening. I think I was saying something before then, but I lost it. I don't know. I joined the Discord and it changed my life. I'm happy to hear that, friends. What time is that in Pyongyang? It's 10:15 a.m. Pyongyang time. For all of our friends that are on Pyongyang time. I know many of you are. Follow-up movie night with an even more exciting and entertaining event the following night. Capital, Volume 1, Chapter 10, The Working Day. That does sound fantastic. I do encourage people to attend both of those events. Me and my brother have a very Kaufman Bros-esque relationship. Which one are you? Are you Charlie or are you Donald? You seem like more of a Charlie, Matt, but maybe I'm misreading. I don't know. He's the jerk off one. Does that mean he acts like a jerk off or he's just jerking off all the time? Because that could mean two totally different things in this context. Maybe that's a little bit personal information. I don't know. Maybe it is. What up, Navi Nation? Hello, Canned Clam 69. Always love welcoming first time chatter from Canned Clam 69. Always love bringing in a new community member who is a fan of James Cameron's box office sensation, iconic film franchise, Avatar. And to answer your question, not much is up. Not much is up. I'm a little hungover, I'm a little tired, and I'm kind of just trying to enlighten and educate and inform and entertain the masses, which is what I do here on Twitch every single day, rain or shine, whether I physically feel up to it or not, because it's not about me, is it? It's not about me and how I'm feeling. It's about you, the viewer, the listener, and making sure that you get your daily dose of Rob that I know many of you, for whatever reason, need. Don't ask me to explain why this is. I could never do that. But that's my cross to bear. That's my cross to bear. I got to show up here every day and give people the daily dose of Rob that they count on and they rely on. I would love to see him. I would love to see him return to that universe as well, Diego, the Aliens universe. I think that would be fucking terrific. I think he's taken a lot of the stuff that was cool about his version of that though, and brought it into the Avatar universe. I mean, you can see a lot of the similarities with like the Colonial Marines and a lot of the technology and stuff like that. You know, it's all kind of in there. The same ideas are in there. I wonder if they could be set in the same universe. I wonder if the Avatar universe is in the Alien universe. I don't know. That'd be kind of a crossover. What if the humans use xenomorphs to try and like cleanse Pandora of Na'vi so they could then extract all the resources? What about that? You get a Na'vi versus Xenomorph film. What if everyone wakes up, they're all in the freaking Matrix all along? I don't know. That's even more crazy. Avatar versus Predator. You know, The Matrix is probably a film we got to watch in the Discord as well. While we're piling on more of those to stress out Marty. We got 13 events planned in the Discord server. Let's make it 15, 16. Let's make it 20. Why not? Let's schedule out the whole next year of programming in there. Let's do it right now. That's what I think we should do. Into the Cameron verse. I would love the James Cameron expanded cinematic universe. I would love it. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right, Diego. Because the xenomorphs wouldn't be like human if they started merging with the Na'vi. There'd be like giant 8 foot tall cat person xenomorphs. That'd be freaky. That'd be so freaky, dude. Yeah, the dog. Alien 3, it's a dog alien. Although I think in the director's cut it comes from cattle. It's a cow. It's actually a cow alien in the third one. There is fan art of Na'vi xenomorph that comes up on image search. I'll be the judge of this. I'll be the judge of this. How's it going, Carnoba? It's good to have you in the chat. Whoa. Oh, we can take a look at this. Yeah, we can take a look at this Amazon Cooper. Did I say Anderson Cooper? We can take a look at this Anderson Cooper Cornell West interview. Did I say that? Did I say what I think I said? I did say Amazon Cooper, didn't I? Jesus Christ. God damn it. What is that? My brain is operating on very low power right now. God damn, dude. Anyway, here's the Na'vi xenomorph. Pretty cool. I don't know if I'm like actively advocating for this. You know? I think I would probably want to keep these franchises separate, though. It's kind of cool. It's got the 4 arms as well. Although the Na'vi are humanoid. It's weird how all the aliens on the Pandora, they all have the extra limbs, but the Na'vi are humanoid. What's up with that? I mean, he's related to old school robber barons. He's literally a Vanderbilt. When you're right, you're right. Yeah, I was obviously intentionally saying that to make a specific reference to Anderson Cooper's class background, okay? And if Chad is too ignorant to pick up on these things when I'm trying to operate on this level, well, that's not my problem. You know? I'm a wordsmith, kind of tossing around a whole bunch of high level ideas here, and I got people mocking me. That's why I'm a real Russo head. Thank you, Husker. I appreciate that. Must make it through today. I wish I could just do a sleeping stream. I think today, if I felt, me and Biden are wordsmith warriors. I have a stutter as well, as I haven't mentioned that before, but it's true. I think if I felt like I could get some subs by sleeping on stream, I think I would consider it today. I think I would consider it. I could just turn my camera out here and go lie on the sofa. You went out last night? Yeah, I went out to see some like lefty media people in Montreal. I'm on Anderson's Wikipedia page, and this MF has a half-brother named Leopold. Oh my goodness. Leopold Cooper. You see how like hollow a lot of like the liberal identity politics are. It's like that's how advanced we are as a society. We've got this like gay, extremely rich and powerful former like robber baron Skyon. We even let him do the news. Can you believe that? That's how inclusive our society is. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, world. It's so much how many, when you look into like the media, how many people come from these kinds of backgrounds as well. Like I remember the guy at the Washington Post, the fact checker guy, the guy that's like, you know, you got 4 Pinocchios. Well, I give you 4 Pinocchios. When you like, you're talking about how, you know, giving people more health care would lead to better health outcomes. Well, that's 4 Pinocchios because really expanded access to insurance will do the same thing or whatever it is. And he comes from like a Shell CEO family or like, so he's like literally like an oil billionaire family. All these people in media, you look around, even dirtbag leftists, it's true. In Canada, it's similar too, but like especially in our media, at the very least, it's people that are like their parents or their grandparents work in like the media or own media. Fan of working through belches, hungover up. But listen, I enjoy drinking my Diet Cokes and it makes me a little gassy, all right? I interned at Rolling Stone my first semester out of school, and every other intern was a scion of some sort. I could only afford rent because I sold drugs. Well, that's the whole thing with like the whole like unpaid intern thing as well. It's like it institutes a system where only those people can afford to intern for those positions. It's such a scam. The NBC map guy. Who's the NBC map guy? Do you mean like the horse race selection guy that like all these MSNBC wine moms were obsessed with? Is that who you're talking about? Steve Cornacci? Yeah, is that him? Not gonna lie, Gloria Vanderbilt's life was crazy. Sorry, I'm still on Wikipedia. We gotta do a deep dive on this. Yeah, the election guy. Khaki Steve. Might as well call him Steve Hornacky with the way people are talking about this guy. And he's literally just like some guy, you know, there's like, it's, you know, he's fine. I guess he's a handsome man, I suppose. Like there's nothing really special about him. But if you're just on TV, if you're on TV and talking about the news, people will just be like, Oh my God. Please. I love you. The C in Skyon isn't pronounced, and scourge rhymes with urge. That last one has been bothering me for months. I'm just going to continue saying Skyon. Horny for Cuomo is the worst iteration of that, for sure. Just because Cuomo is just like, I don't want people to die of this disease. Even though people were indeed dying because of his own ineptitude. And people are just like, I love this man. I want to kiss him on the mouth. I want to kiss this man on the mouth. The Avenatti for president as well. These people are going to really low bar, you know? Really low bar for some of these folks. The moment one person goes on TV on MSNBC and says Trump bad, they're just like, please take off your clothes. Please, I'm begging you. Kissing on the mouth is an Italian greeting, as he explained. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Crazy Not One lefty streamers covering the Hunter Biden IRS whistleblower live coverage. Well, Boof Pack Bobby, why don't you fill us in? Why don't you do some shoe leather reporting and fill us in on the hot news? What are we missing out on now? Please, I would love to hear about it. The scandal that's tearing America apart. I'm dying to know about this. Please tell us what's going on. It's live on C-SPAN. I'm sure you can find it. But I want to know the basics, though. What's going on with the Hunter Biden and the IRS? Is he like dodging taxes or something? What's he doing? I don't want to just tune into this thing without having the basic idea of what's going on. They finally came for his penis. It's funny how much some of these right-wing guys are just like, can you believe that you had this latest picture of Hunter Biden's penis? Have you seen this? Look at this. Ah, they're looking at their phones, just swiping through. Ah. Can't believe this. Just endlessly swiping. Endlessly swiping. Okay, goodbye, Boof Pack Bobby. It's nice to have you around. Thank you. I will be sure to check in on the big Hunter Biden scandal. Any moment now. There's like, oh, I can't believe all these pictures of Hunter Biden's penis. Have you seen this? Have you seen some of these pictures? And it's like, no, because I don't spend my time like seeking out images of other men's penises to look at personally. If that's something that you like to do, all the power to you, you know? You please go ahead. Personally, I get the idea. He liked to take out his dick and take a lot of pictures smoking crack and hanging out with hookers and stuff. Like, I get it. I don't need to see dozens of pictures to confirm this. You know? I don't. I get the basic idea. Look at that meaty girth. It's disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. More new high-res 4K images of Hunter Biden's penis just came out now. Ugh. Download these. You know? It's weird. Exactly, Barfcast. Make backup copies to your camera roll in case the media censors it. You want to make sure you have each and every one. You want to make sure you have each and every one. Okay, so here's the Hunter Biden news. He's literally being charged. They're just saying the investigation was slow rolled till after the election. How do you fuck up this badly with your finances? Like you fall ass backwards into a 6-figure fucking job for this Ukrainian gas company, despite having no real qualifications other than really like smoking crack and hanging out with prostitutes. That's the main thing that you're interested in doing in your life. And you end up with this like incredibly lucrative position because your dad happens to be the vice president of America who helped overthrow the previous government. And you're still got all these like financial issues. Like, Jesus Christ, get it together. You got a total free ride here. This whole fucking up with fuck you money, like, Jesus Christ, man. The sole Hunter Biden photo I've seen was one grabbed from his laptop, and it was a pic of a hash brown inside a McDonald's bag. The guy knows how to party. I mean, there's no denying that. America is run by fail sons. That's why this whole thing is funny whenever people tell you, like, well, you're not covering this. It's like, yeah, I know he's a corrupt fail son. I get it. I understand. This man just loves smoking crack with prostitutes and filming himself doing so. He really just does love it. It's like the main thing that he likes to do in life. Now, I don't agree with this. They should have let this happen. A similar occurrence happened with the FBI. Officials notified Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail ahead of an effort to interview him and several of his business associates in order to avoid a potential shoot-off between two law enforcement bodies. Yeah, they should have gone ahead with that. I don't know, this whole thing, I mean, so they're claiming that there's some kind of pattern where they slow-walked the investigation to prevent some kind of a scandal. But, like, there already was, prior to the election, all that Hunter Biden laptop stuff coming out. Although one thing that these right-wing guys freak out about that I think they're actually right to freak out about is the whole thing about how there was this coordinated effort across mainstream media in the run-up to the election to say that stuff was Russian disinformation. And literally pulling the story because they're like, no, it's Russian disinformation. Which it was not. Now, like that is a real thing, and maybe they did slow roll this investigation. Would it have even mattered? Would that have really mattered to the election? Like the non-stop stream of Hunter Biden news hasn't really done anything to hurt Biden in any way. I'm not really convinced that this investigation or any other investigation about Hunter Biden would have actually impacted the election results in any way. Yeah, they absolutely probably did do this, though. Slow roll the investigation. And clearly the stuff with the laptop and accusing it of being Russian disinformation, I think that does fit with a pattern of, like, trying to cover up or lessen the impact of stories about Hunter in the run-up to the election. Like, I believe that, Did they even need to bother with that, though? Has anything that's come out about Hunter since then really done anything to damage Biden's, like, credibility or his approval? Like, his approval is in the toilet because he's doing a bad job. It's not because of Hunter Biden.
His father, Assistant United States Attorney Leslie Wolf, cited the...
See, look, are you happy? Are you happy, fucking guy that I banned? Look, we're talking about it now. Are you happy? Look at that. Look at that. We're talking about it. We're looking at the hearing. We're doing it. They didn't do it because he was a Dem. No, they did it because the rich son of a politician. They do it for a Republican too, and that's a good point as well. And, like, that's when you're talking about, because this is corruption, right? It's corruption when you walk into Ukraine, which your dad helped to overthrow the government, and then you just get some, like, no-show 6-figure job for a gas company that you know nothing about and you have no experience with. Or when you're, like, getting your IRS investigation stalled
The tax system relies on the American people having confidence it is administered fairly.
Yeah, but like that's not. That's the exact kind of corruption that America runs on. It's not exclusive to the Biden family. This is what it is to be a powerful fail son of a powerful political or political figure or some kind of capitalist powerful person, you know, CEO or whatever. This is what it is to be in that upper crust. The laws don't apply to you the way that they apply to everyone else. That's not just about Hunter Biden. It is what no class analysis does to an MF. We've legalized corruption in this country. It's funny because I did that TikTok about how so many MPs are landlords and Congress people, senators, whatever. And I was just making the basic point that if you're a elected official and you're a landlord and you're making policy, and it doesn't even apply to being a landlord, but if you're making policy in any way that contributes to padding your own portfolio, that's corruption, and you should go to jail for that. And people were getting all mad about, I saw this comment today, it's like, oh, so political figures can't do anything, can they? They just can't do anything. And it's like, no. If the thing that you're talking about is legislating in a way that increases their own personal wealth at the expense of their constituents, no, they should not or cannot do that, and that should be illegal and a crime, and they should be thrown in prison for that. I don't think that, but that's how normalized it is. Random people on TikTok are coming to the defense of these obviously corrupt elected officials. It's who are you? Why are you defending these people? Why are you defending the idea of an elected official being a landlord and profiting off their own legislation? That's ridiculous. If you're a civil servant, you should just be a civil servant. How about that? That's your job. Your job is not to pad your portfolio. Your job is to serve your constituents. If you're not doing that, if you are padding your portfolio at the expense of everyone else, jail. Jail. Why is that so controversial?
Delaware United States Attorney David Weiss, but that was not true. The Justice Department allowed the president.
Why is that controversial? It shouldn't be. Let's hear what this weirdo's saying.
Matthew Graves, appointed by President Biden, refused to bring charges in March 2022. I watched United States Attorney Weiss tell a room full of senior FBI and IRS senior leaders on October 7th, 2022, that he was not the deciding person on whether charges were filed. That was my red line. I had already seen a pattern of preferential treatment and obstruction. Now United States Weiss was admitting that what the American people believed, based on the Attorney General's sworn statement, was false. I can no longer stay silent. In November of 2022, the statute of limitations was set to expire for the 2014 and 2015 charges in D.C., which included the 2014 felonies for the attempt to evade or defeat tax and fraud or false statement regarding bereavement income earned by Hunter Biden in those years. The statute of limitations had been extended through a tolling agreement with Hunter Biden's defense counsel, and they were willing to extend it past November 2022. Weiss allowed those to expire. Prosecutors presented the 2017, 2018, and 2019 criminal tax charges to the Central District
Thank you, Red Scary.
Around September of 2022. Only after President Biden's nominee, Martin Estrada, was confirmed. In January of this year, I learned
you know what? I'm going to have a popsicle. How about that?
Bring the charges. For all intents and purposes, the case was dead with the exception of one gun charge that could be brought in Delaware. And yet, when Senator Chuck Grassley asked Attorney General Garland about the case in March 2023, Garland testified, the United States Attorney has been advised he has full authority to make those referrals you're talking about or to bring cases in other districts if he needs to do that. He has been advised that he should get anything he needs. After the October 7 Red Line meeting, there was no way to reconcile the United States Attorney Weiss's statement, his office's actions with Attorney General Garland's public testimony. I am 100% certain of what Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office did in seeking approval from political appointees in D.C. and California. The New York Times reported that it has independently confirmed the charges being presented and declined.
Blast off.
Plenty of other witnesses are familiar with these facts, in addition to those who witnessed U.S. Attorney Weiss's private admission. I encourage them to step forward and tell the truth about what happened and what they heard. Let me be clear. Although these facts contradict Attorney General Garland's testimony and raise
Nice
serious
phallic
questions
popsicle to celebrate Hunter Biden. This shit is
I've
boring.
never
Where's the
claimed
penis
that evidence
pics? That's
that
what I want to
Attorney General
know.
Garland knowingly lied to Congress.
Honestly, I need to
Whether
see more of
Attorney General
those.
Garland knew his testimony was false
When do
is
they
for
start?
you
When
and
do
the
they start
Inspector
showing the
General to
penis
determine,
pics? Because that's
not
the
me.
main thing that I'm interested in
Same
about
is
this.
true for United States Attorney Weiss's 3 letters to Congress since June 2023. It is for others to investigate and determine whether those letters contain knowingly false statements.
We want dicks.
However, it's clear that United States Attorney Weiss's story to the American public has evolved.
What kind of popsicle is that? Okay, so it's like a, you know, it's there. The 3 flavored ones, like often in America they have those like red, white, and blue ones. But this is like the President's Choice brand, which is like the local like grocery store brand. President's Choice makes some very good products, by the way.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Thank you for the 100 friend coin, Dimitri. Where are the cocaine and hookers? It's a good question. This is an investigation. We all know they need more dick pics to have an investigation. Thank you. So it's a grape on the top, though. Grape, lime, and cherry on the bottom. It's a really... These are very good popsicles, honestly.
United States Attorney Weiss and Attorney General Garland will each be sitting before
You need a
these
link to the
committees
dick
one
pics.
day.
Definitely maybe
They will
DM me
have to
that.
admit that despite all their obfuscation,
Maybe DM me that
absolute
link.
fact is that this case
And
was
in my
presented
own
to
private
2
time, I'm going to take a look at those just to
U.S. attorneys in D.C.
just to
and California.
review
That
them.
no charges were brought in those districts tells
I'm going to
you
review
everything
them
that you
later
need to know.
by myself.
I don't claim to be privy to United States Attorney Weiss or Attorney General Garland's communications, but United States Attorney Weiss told us that he was not the deciding person, that he had requested and was denied special authority after D.C. declined charges, and that if California declines, he will have to request special authorities again. I understood the gravity of those admissions.
Just need a little bit of alone time to research and review these images. These disgusting, disgusting, depraved images.
When I decided after October 7th to come forward and I am
Reviewing dick pics, President's Choice popsicle in hand. That's how you got to do it.
Every way as I navigated the complex taxpayer privacy and grand jury secrecy statutes.
This shit is really boring. I don't know. It's like no lefty streamer is covering this. Yeah, I can't believe no lefty streamer is covering this incredibly boring statement.
A federal prosecutor for 25 years, including 5
I just can't believe that. This is riveting stuff. I'm riveted right now. Riveted.
Whistleblower group whose president, Tristan Levitt, was previously nominated by President Biden to the Merit Systems Protection Board and unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate. While some have tried to paint me with a partisan brush because this charitable organization employs some former staffers to GOP members on Capitol Hill, their expertise developed working for the patron saint and whistleblower, Senator Chuck Grassley.
Rob the Riveter. That's what they call me.
Meanwhile, the Biden family attorneys appear to be representing Hunter Biden, President Biden, and the Department of Justice, and they are not working for free. It has been reported in public sources that there is a large fund paying for legal fees
popsicle,
for
so
Biden family
good.
attorneys. The source of those funds is unknown.
Gang, gang.
They have virtually unlimited resources to pursue their agenda. While my motives are
You're saying the wealthy and powerful have unlimited resources to hire lawyers to shield themselves from legal consequences that other people are not privy to? Wow, you're telling me this for the first time. I'm just hearing this now for the first time. This is crazy. This revelation. That wealthy and powerful and politically connected people are operating under a different system of justice than the average person. This is wild shit.
I'm confident that after you have done that, both sides will find serious issues with the Hunter Biden investigation.
I feel like if they did some side-by-sides of Hunter driving 180 while smoking crack, I'd enjoy this more. Definitely give the ADHD presentation.
I am here with information
for the neurodivergent followers of this
warranted
investigation.
I am on your team.
You get Hunter smoving crack on one side of the screen, and then you get like the kinetic sand images, kinetic sand videos also, just to give you something else.
And the only money that goes into my bank account every 2 weeks is from my employment for the federal government.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good
I am
old
still a
Rob
supervisor
to talk
leading
you
a group
through all
of 12
this.
fantastic agents.
Red Scary, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you, Red Scary. Very kind of you.
My immediate supervisors are retaliating against me for making protected disclosures.
Very much appreciated.
Even last fall, Biden family attorneys attacked investigators in the pages of the Washington Post and threatened to prosecutors with and threatened the prosecutors with career suicide if they brought charges against
This is so relevant. Will change everything. I care about Hunter Biden from the bottom of my heart. Me too.
Error-filled letter.
Me too.
Attacked me with innuendo, false statements, and baseless speculation that I had leaked information to the Washington Post. These statements by Biden family attorneys are false. In conclusion, to the American people for whom this body works, I implore you to look at the facts, not agenda-laced statements from either side of the aisle.
This is nerd going on about his bank account. It is dreadfully boring. Exactly. I can't believe no one is covering this explosive story. This is really great content.
The first person in my family to go to college. It was not an Ivy League school. And I don't have a network of rich and powerful friends to help me weather the storms of retaliation and character assassination. I am putting myself at risk for the American people who support me and for those who do not. At the end
Trump's
of the day,
finished. We wish we a Mueller Christmas.
Just a small-town kid from Norwich, New York, who worked hard to get where I am.
Probably if Republicans take back power in the U.S. government, they'll do all kinds of Biden investigations too, and there's going to be a... I was going to say a Republican Mueller, but the funny thing about that is that Mueller's already Republican. He's a Republican, a lifelong Republican fucking spook who liberals just... Talk about liberals finding people sexy for no reason. Completely shit their pants over for like 2 straight years.
Focused on following the evidence, specifically the money trail through
You like that, Mike?
Suspicious activity reports. And I want
You like the popsicle ASMR?
Payments made to Hunter Biden and the Biden
But he's a
family.
principled Republican, of course.
Democrats and the left-wing media are also saying there's no evidence. But let's get into the evidence, Mr. Ziegler. I want to direct you to pages 99 and 100 of your transcript. How much money did Hunter Biden and his associates receive from the Romanian company you identified?
So that amount would be from Romania. So the approximate total transfers from the Romania company would have been $3.1 million to everyone.
$3.1 million. How much did Hunter Biden and his business associates receive from State Energy HK Limited through the Robinson Walker LLC?
So total transfers from
You know, Red Scary.
HK to Rob Walker
Red
was
Scary.
$3 million.
$3 million.
Gift, very generous 300 sub gifter, Red Scary, trying to pass herself off as a lowly chatter.
Yes, Chairman.
As a lowly chatter, when clearly the diamond,
through Hudson West,
the diamond,
So
whatever
the total
thing, the
transfers
pink
from
diamond
Hudson
next to the
West
name indicates
everyone was
otherwise.
$3.7 million.
$3.7 million. How much
Indicates
money did Hunter Biden and
otherwise.
his business associates receive from the Ukrainian company Burisma?
Burisma paid to everyone involved $6.5 million.
$6.5 million. Burisma also paid Blue Star Strategies and a law firm hundreds of thousands of dollars, bringing the total Burisma payments to over $7 million. Is that correct?
That is correct, $7.3 million.
I hope they treat every one of their fail sons like this.
Between 2014
You know, put
and
Hunter in jail.
2019, this
Go
brings the
for it.
total amount of foreign
Then go
income
after the
streams
Pelosi
received
kids.
approximately
Certainly go after the
$17
Trump
million,
kids.
correct?
The Trump was so obviously, openly, nakedly corrupt. Go after them, definitely. Go after all their fucking shitty kids. They're all corrupt.
So for the purpose of documenting the foreign sources is we, as a part of a normal
Lock 'em all up.
international tax investigation, we have to figure out where the money's coming from. You have to follow the money trail. And as a part of that process, we have to follow different transactions, identify different foreign entities that might be paying a person, and then we go and get those records.
Right. And hopefully you can provide that to the committee.
So yeah.
I said everything
Any
right and they
records
indicted
from those
me.
Use
transactions,
the computer to mark up
We love
the
evidence on
size of
this
the
side
account.
of the aisle.
Not
On page
the
80
Coke
of your
button-up shirt
transcript,
guy.
you
It can stay.
identified other Biden family members who received
Those
relevant
shirts are pretty
payments
cool,
to your
I gotta say.
such as the grandchildren. Can you explain why you wanted to interview them?
Rob wheeled in the TV to watch
So
IRS
as a part of
testimony.
the
Well, just so
investigation,
riveting.
we want to
Since I was
interview
called out.
people
I was
who might
called
have
out for not
received
covering this
money,
riveting
people who
content because of my
might have deductions
pro-Biden
that were deducted on
bias.
tax returns. So there's a multitude of reasons
I have to
why
prove
we
the
want to
haters
talk
wrong
to, family
with this
members.
really exciting and interesting and engaging testimony.
Common for grandchildren to receive money from foreign nationals and significant business wires?
So I don't know.
I'm
the
gonna eat a
reason,
popsicle in
or I don't know
solidarity.
what
Very nice,
time
Newman.
any of these payments that might have
I
been
encourage
paid
everyone.
to specific family members, but I can just
Rob the
speak to what
crypto
was paid,
Bidenist, that's what they call me.
What was in our transcript?
Thank you. I would invite the media here today to review the committee's bank records memorandum, which closely matches the IRS figures. We
It's
will have
actually
a
funny
supplemental
because
memorandum discussing
I think I might be the only person.
Ukraine, Russia, and
I think I might be the only person that I get accused sometimes in the same day. I get accused of being a genocide denying, dictator loving tanky and a Democratic Party sheepdog at the same time. Sometimes in the same day, people accuse me of both of these things, which to me is mutually exclusive. You can't be a genocide denying, dictator loving tanky and a shill for the Democratic Party or a sheepdog for the Democratic Party and Joe Biden. You got to pick one. These two things are mutually exclusive.
President Biden, and in the course of any normal investigation, when the subject's father is somehow related to the finances of the subject, that would
Yeah, we can move to Cornell West, actually. Let me just finish my popsicle. It's almost finished. The immortal science of Marxism, Bidenism. That's right.
in that investigation to determine what we end up charging.
there was a tweet.
And frankly, I will kind of cop to being at least somewhat of a genocide-denying, dictator-loving tanky. I think that's more accurate, anyways.
It said, quote,
You know.
Bidens are the best I know at doing exactly what the
Sometimes people get it right. You know, you got to give people credit when they do nail you on something.
to is Chairman Yee of CEFC. Is that correct?
In that stream,
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
So, what? Can you tell me what the Bidens are best at? Do you understand what he?
You can only go after one failed son, Cheyenne, for corrupt. So is it Cheyenne? I don't even know.
The ranking member referred to it.
I don't even know.
Gal,
Rob supports the president's choice no matter what. He said so earlier. That's right. President's choice. I love it.
the money that he got.
I absolutely love it, and I unequivocally support it.
For an agent, I believe, was in charge. But this
Scion.
is another solicitation.
Scion.
Hunter Biden, and he refers.
Yeah, like Diego was saying, I think George W. Bush is a good one because he's both a failed son, scion, and a war criminal.
To our committee because this is
You know? So I think probably I would say W. Bush.
entity. This
He's
is
the best of both worlds.
concern to our national security, and I didn't know. In closing, if you had any information with respect to that comment there.
You know, with respect to the WhatsApp messages, it was something we clearly needed to follow up on.
Obama's not a scion, but he is part of some kind of like vast, nefarious CIA-led Manchurian candidate kind of anti-communist conspiracy.
Simply wasn't supported by the prosecutors. So, further delving into what that means, I just simply can't do.
Well, I can.
Which doesn't really count, but that's something else. That's a totally different thing.
What he fully meant by that message to a Chinese Communist Party official.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something about
Yes,
that?
please.
So, thank you for that question.
All I have are these frozen fruit bars my wife bought. Well, you know what? That doesn't sound quite as good as a popsicle, but a nice frozen fruit bar can be okay.
What we can do, or what we can go back.
You know? That can be all right. Well, anyway, I don't feel like we learned anything from looking at that coverage, that riveting coverage. That riveting coverage, but yeah, Hunter Biden is corrupt. Lock him up. If people want to tune into this show and be like, this lefty is not covering the latest Hunter Biden news, yeah, sure, lock him up. Lock them all up. Lock up, pretty much you can look at any powerful member of the United States government and look at their shitty kids and look into it, and you're probably going to find a lot of illegal stuff. So I encourage everyone to do that. Don't stop at Hunter. You know, go after everybody. Dip the fruit bar in sugar. That's nice. That's a good idea. That's very nice. I freeze my Rain energy drink into delicious, energizing popsicles. That sounds very tasty. That sounds very delicious. I would love a nice little Rain energy total body fuel right now. I think I kind of need it. I had a nice coffee this morning. I had a Diet Coke and it did nothing. It gave me absolutely nothing. By the way, folks, I'll just remind you before we move on, we can move on to this like Anderson Cooper, Cornell West interview. I think that's going to be interesting. But before I do, I'd just like to take a moment to remind everyone to please, if you can, subscribe to TRRS. Remember how the lamestream media tries to convince us Diet Coke causes cancer? Just shameful. Shameful people.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all
That's what I
this.
think about the people that tried to spread that misinformation, G. Cluppy. Thank you, Dimitri, for the gifted sub. Very much appreciated. And yes, please, folks, before we move on to this interview with Amazon Cooper, which I said totally intentionally earlier. Totally intentionally. But before we move on, please, if you can, subscribe to TRRS. The only way that I'm able to keep doing this show, which is not funded by the government, it's not funded by arms manufacturers, as you can see, in the slogan down there. The magnificent Emberson Clumper, exactly. It's not sponsored by any big corporations, any fracking companies. The only way, folks, that I am able to continue putting on this show each and every day here on twitch.tv/Rob Rousseau is through the extremely generous donations and subscriptions of the TRRS community members. So if you can, folks, please subscribe. It costs $5 per month. It's completely free of charge with your Amazon Prime account, which you can very easily convert to a Twitch Prime sub. Totally free. Every little bit helps. Every donation, every tip, sub, gifted sub, friend coin, whatever it is, it all helps me keep this program on the air. I am going to be gone again on Friday and throughout the following week as well. So it is your last chance to subscribe or to support TRRS besides tomorrow. It's your last chance. And maybe I'll die. Maybe I'll die when I'm away. You don't know. You don't know that I won't. Maybe tomorrow will be the last episode of this program ever, and I'll just move to a cabin somewhere. And then you'll feel pretty bad, won't you? You always have to tell the people that you love in your life that you love them. And the way that you tell me that you love me is by subscribing to this program. And if I die in the next week, you're going to feel pretty bad. You're going to feel pretty bad. It is emotional blackmail. Yeah, it is. Sounds like someone's going to fake their death and move to a cabin. I'm sorry, I mouth autism. I'm not. I'm going to be gone for a week and I'm coming back, okay? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be funny. I'm trying to be morbidly funny. I apologize. If he passes, the money would in whole go to Bezos. I don't think the sale is what you think. Yeah, it's probably not. Probably not. My last wishes are for you to send money to Jeffrey Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. Next month there will be a new streamer that looks like Rob without the glasses, Bob Bousseau. This is the start of the North Korean defection arc. And there's a new North Korean defector as well. There's a US military guy that just defected to North Korea. That's fun. He's going to start showing up on like North Korean TV like Yeonmi Park going like, in America you pay off your student debt for like 15 years and you owe more than you did when you started. But it's like all true things. It's all true things about the US of A. What a fib. What a fib that would be, exactly. What a big stretch that would be. Any other takers, folks? He's going to have a lot to tell for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Miss Moonsugar. I mean, you could just go on and on about the daily horror show of the United States, and it sounds made up a lot of the time because of how fucking horrible it is. You know, but... You know, in America, armed agents of the state just shoot people like fucking animals in the middle of the street. Unarmed people. These armed agents of the state just shoot kids, adults, whoever, if they feel remotely threatened. And when people protested, they got put in jail too, and then the government gave the cops even more money. That's what kind of a nightmare authoritarian dystopia that is. In the USA, North Korean defectors are forced to tell absurd lies about their country for money to survive. Exactly.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
In America, you pay the banks for calling you to collect your debts. In America, when you're overdrawn in your account because you don't have enough money to pay bills, you have to pay money to the bank for not having enough money. Money that they know that you don't have. Thank you very much, Ben, for the gifted sub. Thank you for that. Okay, well, let's move on to this. Amazon Cooper video. We can look at that, see if we can glean anything interesting from that. I'll try to make the number go up a little bit more after.
Cornell West, who joins us now. Dr. West, appreciate you being with us. It's good to see you.
It's always a blessing to see you, and I salute your two precious gifts from heaven.
Thank
Brother
you.
Sebastian, Brother Wyatt. Yes, indeed.
They're doing well. Thank you. I want to ask you, Senator Manchin up in New Hampshire tonight, he seems to be testing the waters there. He says the parties are too far to the left and...
That's an amazing thing, too. The whole thing, Manchin and like no labels and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, it's way too far to the left. That's the problem. Also, how Manchin doesn't get talked about like as possible spoiler in those situations the way that people like Cornel West do.
To the right, what do you think of his politics?
Well, you know, I just read the pamphlet Common Sense, and my God, they had the audacity to rename that after the great Thomas Paine's revolutionary pamphlet of January 10th, 1976, that was critical of all forms of hierarchy in the name of the dignity of those sly stone called everyday people. I don't think that the No Labels Party, with their hundreds of $million flowing already, are fundamentally focused on what I'm concerned about, which is the plight of poor and working people trying to come to terms with the cop cities. Why do the critiques of the cop cities trying to come to terms with striking workers, be they in Hollywood, be they in Amazon, be they at UPS, coming to terms with the eco side, with the fossil fuel companies, steel, corporate greed running out of control. You know, we're at a moment now, my brother, where if we don't come to terms with this massive callousness and indifference to the plight of poor and working people, we're going to lose everything. Planet, democracy, qualitative relations with each other. That's how life and death, like our situation is, my brother. Very much so.
You know the concern, certainly. I mean, you've been asked this question a million times from a lot of Democrats and Republicans against Trump that a third-party candidate like yourself could siphon votes away from President Biden. David Axelrod recently tweeted saying in 2016, the Green Party played an outside role in the tipping the election to Donald Trump. Now with Cornel West,
Hillary blew it. Blame yourselves.
Do it again, risky business. Now I know you said you don't believe Jill Stein made that big a difference in the vote count in 2016. In Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, her votes did exceed Trump's margin over Clinton. So how do you answer that critique that you will be siphoning votes away and potentially leading to a Trump victory?
Well, part of it is that nearly 40% of our precious citizens every 2 and 4 years decide not to vote at all. And we know that the so-called spoilers, which is a category you can imagine I don't accept at all, over 2/3 of those who vote, it could be a Gary Johnson, a Sister Jill Stein, Brother Ralph Nader, whoever.
We shouldn't have democracy. We might lose.
They would never vote for the two parties. And I can understand those two parties become too corrupt. Their politicians are too conformist. Too many of the politicians themselves are just cowardly, will just say anything. What about truth? What about justice? Truth and justice bigger than all of us, bigger than every party, every race, every person. If you're concerned about truth and justice, then you can't be cowardly, complacent.
Yeah, good question.
And especially
I wonder why the graphic doesn't show who got the third most amount of votes in those states. It's a good question. Like, wasn't there a libertarian candidate in each of these? Wasn't it Gary Johnson? Didn't Gary Johnson do similar numbers to Jill Stein in each one of these states? Or more? Doesn't that render this whole thing just completely false and fraudulent? Yeah, I think got more votes than Stein across the board, in my recollection. What a joke.
Too corrupt, their politicians are too conformist. Too many of the politicians themselves are just cowardly, will just say anything. What about truth? What about justice? Truth and justice bigger than all of us, bigger than every party, every race, every person. If you're concerned about truth and justice, then you can't be cowardly, complacent, or conformist, and especially if you look at the world through the lens of those who are incarcerated, those who are in ghettos and hoods and barrios. Brother David Axelrod, he looks at the world through the lens of the establishment. Well, of course, from the lens of the establishment.
Which Anderson Cooper is a spokesperson of.
My God. There's no doubt about that. In the 1850s, both parties supported slavery.
But I think
Frederick
he's
Douglass
probably
was with
more.
the Labor Party.
I think he seems more, though. I mean, you know David Axelrod. He seems more interested in preventing former President Trump from getting reelected, more than, I'd say, recreating the establishment.
Yes.
No?
Well, no, I'm talking about the Democratic Party establishment, though, brother.
Oh, okay.
See, the Axelrod is, you see what I mean? You would agree with, he's very much part of the Democratic Party establishment.
Well, his interests. Anyway, I don't want to speak for him, but you criticized President.
Right, absolutely.
You criticized President Biden, saying recently that he contributed, in your words, I'm quoting, contributed to a crime against humanity when he became the architect of the mass incarceration regime in the 1990s. You're referring to the 1994 Violent Crime
Where's the lie?
Law Enforcement Act that then Senator Biden sponsored.
But let's look at Biden's quotes while we're talking about this. So what? He says Joe Biden was an architect of like the mass incarceration. Let's hear that one more time. What did he say exactly?
It's quoted in your words, I'm quoting, contributed to a crime against humanity when he became the architect of the mass incarceration regime in the 1990s.
Here's Biden in the 90s selling that bill.
1994 crime bill was enacted. We are still having conversations about the import and significance of the bill.
That 1994 crime bill, it did contribute to mass incarceration in our country.
It's important.
Yes, it did. Where's Biden's quotes here?
Of the political environment.
Oh, the context.
In the early 1990s.
Oh, I've got to hear about that context.
Clinton and Senator Biden at the time were right that the bill was significant.
The most significant federal effort to deal with violent crime in America.
I think it's an ascot, Carnova.
It was important for a Democrat at the time.
I love this objective analysis, whitewashing Democrats' role in this. No, they had no choice. They had no choice but to the context of the early 90s. They had no choice but to triangulate on this and institute this vast police state, mass incarceration system, ruining millions of people's lives. You see, that's just what the politics of the time were. They had to do it. They're fucking objective journalists explaining this away and trying to give some kind of like shine to it. I'm trying to find. I need the clip of Biden though talking about the crime bill.
So
here's Kyle Kalinske.
This is Joe so disastrous.
We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife.
Yeah, this is not, you're just making shit up. You're just making shit up, sir. That has never happened to you. And I would argue that, yes, it does matter. Yes, it does matter. The fact that, like, there's social causes for these kinds of violent crimes. I think that actually does matter. And probably those social causes should be investigated and dealt with before you just institute a vast police state mass incarceration system. Yeah, he's just fully just making shit up. He's gonna bash my mom with a lead pipe. Like, who is this? Fucking Professor Plum? You know? Max, thank you. Yes. This is the most progressive president in history. It's exactly right. Yeah, but you could stop your mom from getting domed by changing the society. Yes, you could. We're going to change nothing at all, except we're going to militarize the police even more and expand our mass incarceration system. Which, by the way, how many people that got pulled into the system in that massive, like, Law and Order crackdown in the early 90s? How many of them were actually violent criminals? And how many were, like, drug dealers, drug pushers, people shoplifting, committing basic petty crimes like that? Like, how many people were actually violent criminals that got pulled in? The millions and millions of people that got locked up during this period. What's the percentage, do you think, of people that were actually violent criminals, like he's saying, just going around assaulting random innocent white women, which is what he's talking about here? You know? How many people, and of the millions of people that had their lives ruined during this period, were actually guilty of the kind of crimes that he's describing here in this kind of racist fever dream?
So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents.
Born out of wedlock? This is so racist. I don't think I've seen these full clips. This is unbelievably racist. No wonder this guy was a segregationist hanging out with, like, Strom Thurmond and all these fucking vile racist reactionaries. Born out of wedlock. Yeah, who are you talking about here, Joe? Who exactly? Let's get really specific about who you're referring to here. Yeah, the USA is still making race laws in great support of your Fourth Reich theory, for sure. Yeah. It is as bad as anything Trump has said, for sure. Yeah, this is the communist president that you've been hearing about, exactly. The most progressive administration in history, folks.
Supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And, Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family.
I'm sure being raised by PTSD veterans of the Vietnam War, breathing and drinking lead had nothing to do with crime, for sure. We're talking about the predators as well. Probably there's people. Was Jim Hastert in the house at this time? The predators are, the call is coming from inside the house, sir. One of Biden's lowest moments here, but to be honest, his career was all about this and kowtowing to credit card companies based in Delaware. Yeah, absolutely. That's how progressive he is.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
It is so funny watching this, comparing his energy level to now. Absolutely. And people say, like, oh, he's always had this stutter. That's why he's always messing up and having these verbal flubs and making these kind of mistakes, because of his famous stutter. He's speaking pretty well. He's quite clear and lucid in this scene here, in this clip. Quite articulate, actually.
Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
How many kids does Hunter have out of wedlock? It's a good question.
How to rehabilitate them at that point.
Well, yeah, and that in and of itself, I mean, that's the whole thing. They try to hold Hunter Biden up against Biden as being something about how Biden is like loving and he cares about his son, which is something that actually makes Biden seem human and empathetic. But where was this empathy? He's talking about predators and drug abusers and whoever right now when his own shithead son is out engaging in the exact same behaviors and never has any real consequences for it. And is in fact just failing upwards for his whole fucking life. You know, with the total support of his dad, Joe Biden, who loves him regardless of all these things. Where black or brown or indigenous people in America that engaged in literally the exact same behavior that his fuckhead son does get locked up for decades as a result of these policies.
The sad truth. I'm the guy that says
We got to remove them from society, he says.
Occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, we must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail.
They're in jail, except for some people that aren't in jail, actually, that I'm related to personally. It's crazy that of all the drugs Hunter could do, he does crack, knowing Joe Biden's stance on that drug specifically in the crime deal bill. That's true. I wonder if there's some kind of like, there's like a Freudian analysis of that. That'd be probably kind of interesting. Something going on there. It's kind of wild to admit that our shitty society created this problem, yet our shitty society has no responsibility to fix itself, and the best solution is just locking people up forever. Yeah, and just basically saying, like, it's sad that we can't rehabilitate people, but we can't, so just got to lock them up. As is usual, when a white person has problems, the response from other white people is it's tragic illness, we must help them. Look at the opioid crisis that largely affected white people. The approach to that is totally different to, say, the crack epidemic. Absolutely, yeah. For sure. I mean, even the discrepancies between crack and regular cocaine in this bill was heavily racialized, right? And cocaine that was being used by these like Wall Street guys, they get a little slap on the wrist for doing that. But if you're like a mom who's struggling to get by with a couple of kids and you smoke crack and get caught with it, your life is ruined for forever and you lose your kids. Yeah, surely these children with locked up dads is going to turn out just fine. And he simultaneously is saying they're born out of wedlock. They don't have fathers. But yeah, let's go in and bring militarized cops into all these communities. And with these communities that are desperate, with like zero economic opportunities, zero jobs, zero education. And we'll go and lock up everyone in these communities to ensure that all these families are destroyed and broken up. And that this cycle of violence just continues and continues. And then we'll eventually lock up the kids as well. Hello, Old Dutch. What's up?
Away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist, and we must deal with that.
So that bill that he was vociferously arguing for?
I want to see, there's still a clip that I'm looking for, though, when he's just like, this bill does everything. It locks people up for everything. That's the clip that I want to see. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? We lock people up for jaywalking in this bill. This is all just going back to Cornel West's point when he talks about whatever it was he said, the human rights disaster of this crime bill and mass incarceration, which is just a totally true statement. Using the whole "what if it was your mother, father, child" to argue for harsher sentencing and more police is the surest sign of a complete psycho. Yeah, absolutely. Where's this stupid clip? There, here we go. The last little clip of this before we get back to Cornel West.
Let me tell you what is in the bill. And I'll let you all decide whether or not this is weak. Let me get down here a compendium of the things.
You see, this is the classic Democrat liberal triangulation as well, right? Oh, Republicans are calling it weak. They're calling it weak. Well, guess what? It's not weak. Listen to how we completely crushed the lives of everyone for these minor crimes and misdemeanors. You're going to call us weak? Well, now we'll put out this bill and you'll see that it's not weak. And then everyone will agree with us. You know, it's it's so fucking transparent. I wonder if this won any conservative support for the Democratic Party. I don't think so.
That are in the bill. One, the death penalty. It provides 53 death penalty offenses. Weak as can be, you know? We do everything but hang people for jaywalking.
He's bragging. He's bragging. Oh, you're going to call it weak? We do everything but hang people for jaywalking. That is not a good thing, sir. Jesus Christ. Like, that is pure psycho shit.
In this bill. That's weak stuff.
The Republicans called it weak, so we really gotta... Jesus. So that goes back to... That's just going back to this interview with Cornel West. I mean, that's the context with which he's making that kind of accusation against Biden.
Absolutely. You criticized President Biden, saying recently that he contributed, in your words, I'm quoting, contributed to a crime against humanity when he became the architect of the mass incarceration regime in the 1990s. You're referring to the 1994 Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act that then Senator Biden sponsored. You also said it's, quote, very clear that his cognitive powers are in decline. You have had a remarkable career. You've championed those whose voices have been silenced all your life.
You call this pile of skulls small?
A ton of times talking about that. You've never run a large bureaucracy or had any major governmental leadership role. Isn't that important to actually governing as president?
Oh, absolutely. I'd have to bring in people who are experienced, but the important thing is your vision and the lens through which you view the world. Policy is something that can be worked out in light of vision. If your vision is one of militarism abroad, then you're going to be preoccupied with wars and militaristic adventures. We've known Biden's got a long history. I don't think he's actually seen a war that he hadn't supported. I think the invasion and occupation of Iraq was a crime against humanity.
And Biden was a key cog of whipping up support for that invasion of Iraq. Was a key member of the Democratic Party that helped create bipartisan support for that. Meanwhile, CNN has Lil Rhonda on and pushes back on literally none of his extremely fascist views. Yeah, exactly. You got to save the tough questions for fucking Cornel West.
How many precious hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed based?
You know, you haven't spent your entire career in this absolutely corrupt, degrading, disgusting political system. Don't you think you need people like that in order to get to that point? Don't you have to spend your entire fucking life working within this system to deliver profits to your biggest donors in order to have the experience necessary to do this?
on a lie. Well, Biden was running interference in that regard. I think mass incarceration in the United States in the last 40 years is a crime against humanity. I've taught in prisons for 41 years. I've stayed in contact with the rich humanity of my brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated. And many have done things they shouldn't have done. And many are there because they're innocent. But the important thing is, they are sites of barbarity. We ought to be ashamed to live in a country when you look at the conditions of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated.
Honestly, like, as much as we talked about the kind of misstep for Cornel West, the whole People's Party thing, like, I'm really glad that he did sort of like immediately correct that and realize that he was gaining nothing by being associated with this. I think it's fantastic that he's out there giving these interviews and talking about this stuff. I think this perspective is sorely needed in this process. And the idea that like RFK Jr. is the one that's going to like advocate for these views, I think is preposterous. Ascot plus necktie is too much neckwear. I'd be sweating my face off in the studio. I guess so. Yeah, I guess it is like a necktie with a scarf. I know his whole thing, Carnoba, is that he wears the same black suit every day. He wears the same black suit that he wants to get buried in. It's kind of his whole gimmick, which I kind of like, actually. But yeah, I think it's great that he's out there articulating these kinds of things in this process.
And it's not just the 1994 crime bill. You can go back to the Biden-Thernstrom. He was a Strom-Thernstrom bills of 84 and 86 and 91 and then 94. You see what I mean? So it's just a matter of trying to be truthful. I'm not trying to trash Brother Biden. I really not. I'm trying to make him accountable for his
You can trash him a little bit.
In light of how the wretched of the earth are treated in this nation and around the world. And that's true for any politician, be it Obama, Biden, Clinton, Bush, Trump. All of them have to be measured by the same standard of truth and justice.
I want to ask you about the war in Ukraine, because I saw you tweeted out, you said NATO is an expanding
Here's they hate this.
power that provoked Russia into a criminal invasion and occupation of Ukraine.
They really hate this
stuff. The
stuff.
proxy war between the American empire and the Russian Federation could lead to World War III. We must stop the war and war crimes, including cluster bombs used by all parties, and embark on diplomatic talks that should lead to a just peace. You believe, I mean, how are you going to bring all sides to the table on Ukraine? And do you really believe that NATO provoked Russia? It's so hard
to wrap your mind around this idea.
Well,
oh my God. You're telling me that Russia was not happy about their closest neighbor and formerly closest ally having their government overthrown and putting in this reactionary Nazi revisionist regime, pro-EU, pro-NATO, pro-America, right on their border? They weren't happy about this? Can you believe this? I mean, Russia, regardless of whatever arguments you want to make, Russia repeatedly said, like, I don't know how you can deny, I guess we go through this every day, so it's kind of annoying to even talk about, but I don't know how you can deny NATO's role in escalating the conflict or provoking it when there's so many documented examples of Russia saying, like, stop this exact behavior. This is our red line. There's going to be consequences if you keep doing what you're doing. Okay, you want to negotiate? We'll negotiate. But if it doesn't work out and you keep doing what you're doing, there's going to be consequences. And they just continue doing it over and over and over again until there is. And then they say, how do you can say NATO provoked this? Really? That's just remarkable. I'm doing the face. I mean, CNN itself was covering. There's clips of CNN in 2014 looking at the civilian populations in Donbass being shelled by the Kiev regime and doing human interest stories about the civilians that were being affected by that on this man's network that he's an advocate for. The eternal Western brain rot that NATO is purely defensive organization does so much work. They really believe it, too. That's the amazing thing. Like, they've really believed this. Radlibs truly believe the Maidan coup is a wild conspiracy theory because of vibes, i.e. Russians are orcs and Ukrainians are white people. Yeah. They do. We've talked about this endlessly, the whole Maidan thing. Well, I think, Brian, like what you were saying last week, he was calling it an illegal invasion by Russia. I think that's what the point was, is that, like what we've been saying, what West is saying about this isn't this radical position. It's literally like a centrist, like bog standard progressive vision. You're talking about the role that Russia has played and the violence that they've unleashed as part of the invasion. And you're also talking about NATO's role in provoking that violence. Like, that's just like it's so non-radical or non-controversial to point this out. And that's how completely warped the discourse is about it. That's how completely warped the discourse is about it, because like he's making this like very just standard average progressive analysis of it, and people treat him like he's like fucking like look at Anderson Cooper's face. They treat him like he's some like a Russian propagandist. I don't know if he's a sheepdog for the DNC. I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, he's like, Cornel West was super excited about Obama being elected, as many people around the world were. And Cornel West, I know, was fucking disgusted by Obama's foreign policy and tried to criticize Obama about that. And Obama, the one time he got angry, he never got angry at any like with the wacko reactionary conservative Republicans or whatever. And he screamed in Cornel West's face because he dared to criticize him, you know? We'll see what happens, Brian. We'll see if he drops out and ends up endorsing Biden, then we'll see, I guess. But I think he's been a pretty staunch critic of this liberal approach and Biden himself. Yeah, he's running third party. That's the whole thing. It's like, I don't think he will drop out. I think he's planning on running in the election. And publicly voted third party the last two elections, according to Matt. Yeah, he'll stick it out and then get blamed when Biden fucking blows it and Trump wins. Exactly.
Promised that NATO would not move 1 inch, and then a few years later, you got 13 former Soviet related countries. But wait a minute. No,
but you're talking about in 1990, there was an agreement signed
That's
that
right.
NATO would not move into East Germany, but actually nothing was said about further east. And it was at the very least it was ambiguous. You can there's an
and
argument.
like this whole gotcha as well. It's like, oh, they never explicitly promised they wouldn't move east, even though that's what the Russians have claimed. Regardless, though, they like you're admitting in that they did continue expanding directly up to Russia's border after the collapse of the Soviet Union, though, right? Whether there was a promise or not, whether this promise was made, we will not expand one inch east or whatever it is. Whether that's true or not, the reality doesn't change, which is that they did expand to the east directly up to Russia's border, which is still a threat to their security, whether you like Russia or not. You know, whether they promised that or not is completely irrelevant, really. I think it makes it more hypocritical if they promised not to and they did. But they still continued after the fall of the Soviet Union, after Russia was already in their sphere of influence, after Russia was trying to be an ally of the West and an ally of America, they continued expanding this explicitly anti-Russian military alliance directly up to their border. So whether they promised to or not, that's still what the behavior was, and that still was perceived by Russia correctly to be a threat to their security. It is a threat to their security. Of course it is. That's the whole reason for NATO's existence in the first place. And yeah, they were threatened by the fact that they peeled off all these former allies in the Soviet Union to become part of this anti-Russian alliance encircling Russia. And they weren't willing to allow Ukraine or Georgia to fall into the same camp.
It was formal and informal talks, but I mean, you know the great George Kennan, who's probably had the finest minds of the establishment when it comes to foreign affairs. He said he doesn't understand why NATO needs to exist any longer because it's defensive. Well, the collapse of the Soviet Empire meant, in fact, you no longer even needed NATO. Europe could come up with its own security, but
Well, certainly,
NATO
but it
has
doesn't seem
been
like that
used
because the
as
people
an
of
arm of the American empire. That's
that's
the challenge.
You don't believe, though, that the people of Ukraine right now need NATO to defend against Russian aggression?
or the people of Ukraine right now who are suffering, and I'm in deep solidarity with their suffering, they are being
count on
caught
me. You're
between
gonna have
this.
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Adrienne, thank you very much. 2 months of tier 1 from Adrienne Vixen. Thank you, Adrienne. Very much appreciated.
Proxy war between the American Empire and the Russian Federation. Federation. Now,
but that's not really
what
true.
They
I mean,
need
but Dr. West, I mean, it wasn't early on. I mean, you're far more educated than I am, but early on, it was Poland,
that's right.
Czechoslovakia, and Hungary who wanted to join NATO. Warsaw Pact countries, suddenly free, did not want to be under the yoke of the former Soviet Union any longer.
Everyone
and
agreed.
They are the ones.
Everyone agreed. The Hungary, they just agreed. They all wanted that. Well, who though? What about the Soviet citizens that wanted to continue that system, that wanted to continue to have a socialist system, who all of a sudden didn't have access to healthcare, education, all these basic social services that they had access to as part of the Soviet Union? Did they want to be protected from Russia's influence? Who are you talking about here? That always gets lost in this as well.
To apply to join NATO. It wasn't the U.S. pushing
Oh,
these
no.
countries.
No, they had nothing to do with it. They weren't pushing. No. The U.S. was saying, what? Me? You want to join our military alliance? Oh, boy. We'd be glad to help you. Thank you, Hungary. Thank you, Latvia. Thank you, Estonia. We were just plugging away in our old military alliance and we didn't want any more allies. But we're so thankful that you've come knocking on our door, hat in hand, asking to join our wee little military alliance. Poor innocent America. They never wanted these allies. They had nothing to do with it. They were just perplexed. They were as perplexed as anybody. Like, Jesus Christ. It's this constant insistence. And you see this across the ideological spectrum. You see it with Republicans, you see it with or conservatives, liberals, social democrats, anarchists, is to not see imperialism. It becomes invisible. And you don't see these imperialist forces creating these situations. It just recedes into the background and you just refuse to acknowledge that it exists. Hey, Doug Crap. Hello, Doug Crap. Great to see you. Great to see you in the chat. Doug Crap. Yeah, let us help you with the paperwork. That's right. They're so generous. So generous, the Americans. Didn't condition aid and financial support and trade on allowing the stationing of U.S. troops in their countries, or had nothing to do with the West installing and supporting pro-NATO puppets in their regime change ops. No, it's just the people of those great nations. They just arbitrarily, democratically decided. They all just wanted to be part of America's anti-Russian military alliance, and America said, "Oh, shucks. Well, we'd be happy to have you. Golly gee whiz." You know? It's really silly to frame America and an American military power in this way.
In an expansion play, it was these countries suddenly free, the people in those countries saying, we want to be in the EU. NATO is the fastest way. It's a kind of a stepping stone to the EU.
You're gonna have
we
good
want
old
that.
Rob
We want to turn to the West. No, would you?
Thank you, Diego, for the 2 gifted subs. I really appreciate all the support from our friend Diego, aka Comrade Social Distancing. Thank you, Diego. Didn't Russia try to join NATO after the Soviet Union collapsed, and then it was reasserted that NATO's existence is in opposition to Russia? And this is the point that I've been making for a couple months. Tridine. Yes. They had destroyed the Soviet Union. Russia had renounced their whole political and cultural system they had spent a century struggling trying to maintain. And they wanted to be part of the special club. They said, okay, well, we've given up everything now. We want to just be good Western allies now. And we're supposed to can we get the benefits of that now? Can we join NATO? Can we be part of the special club? And America said, no, you can't be. You can't be. And they kept being belligerent and humiliating them right up to the point that they elected someone like, or they put in power someone like Putin, who was like, okay, well, I'm going to restore our national dignity here. I'm going to make us a feared and respected world power again, even after Putin was their guy. He was one of their guys. But they were so belligerent that they were like, okay, fine, fuck you. We're not going to be part of NATO. We're going to now act as a counter force to Western imperialism and dominance. If that's the way you want to do. Western imperialism has created the situation from moment one, you know? And this decision making has led to this exact chain of events that leads us to right now.
You have denied Hungary, Czechoslovakia, the choice?
Well, I mean, one, I would have followed George Kennan. I would have abolished NATO right after the collapse of the Soviet Empire, and I would have tried to welcome Russia into the nation, the community of nations, rather than trying to push them against the wall. We know that their system of repression and domination is one in which they're going to feel as if their backs are against the wall. And I think you would probably agree that if Russia or China had missiles in Canada or Mexico targeting Washington, D.C., U.S. government would blow them to smithereens. That's how empires behave. You've read the history. I know the history. We're critical of imperial activity, no matter who it is, American, Russian, and what have you. But America's the most powerful empire in the world, in the history of the world, my brother. And it seems to me if we can't dismantle that empire in order to empower poor and working people here and abroad, we're going to lose our democracy. It's almost like Rome, you know, it's Cato the Younger and Cicero against Julius Caesar.
Right, but there's
what happens when your empire begins to take over
This smirk.
democratic possibilities?
I just spoke to the...
This is so much more combative than any fucking ghoul that comes on this program. Like the chatter was saying previously. They only hold this kind of like the feet to the fire of people like Cornel West, and they'll just allow whatever reactionary psycho to come on and say whatever they want with zero pushback, especially if they're a Democrat as well. Yeah, they were more accepting of Ron DeSantis, or the whole Trump town hall thing that happened a few weeks ago. That was just Trump just basically saying whatever he wanted to this cheering, applauding audience, and they were like, "Thank you, sir," with zero pushback. It's really amazing.
Foreign Minister of Ukraine, we're going to have that interview later on. I think if you said to him, you're standing with the people of Ukraine in solidarity, and you're saying that they are just victims in this proxy war, he would say, you're out of your mind. I mean, they are thankful. They are thankful for NATO. They are thankful for the U.S. You can call it the American empire, but I mean, they are thankful for all these countries rallying to their side. I mean, I've been there. You've probably been there as well. I mean, it's a horrible. It's an invasion. I mean, of killing civilians in cities.
Oh, no, it is a criminal invasion. I'm not denying it's a criminal invasion, but what I'm saying is you go back to the men's talks, you go back to March, 1 month after the war began.
This motherfucker. Brother, you can call it the American empire. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
But you can call it for ceasefire. Vladimir Putin isn't really listening to what you say or I say or.
I mean, Angela Merkel admitted. Look at his stupid face. Look at this stupid face, this man. Angela Merkel admitted when it came to the Minsk agreements that they had no intention of following through on them. Oh, you can't argue or negotiate with Putin. He'll never abide by it. We were the ones that didn't abide by it. We didn't. It's like, what? The United States is just this innocent bystander, according to Anderson. We're not an empire. We're just this innocent bystander. We're just helping people out. Helping people out from the goodness of our hearts. And this is how you react. You call us an empire. Unbelievable.
Anybody says, I mean, he's doing what he wants to do, just like he slaughtered. I mean, you saw what he did to Grozny. You saw what he did to Grozny in the 90s. I mean, he flattened that city. Civilians were trapped in that city. No, the world didn't come to the rescue of Grozny. He did exactly what he wanted to do. I mean, unchecked, he will slaughter people.
Well, I mean, unchecked, he will slaughter folk. Unchecked, What we did in Iraq was slaughtering people unchecked. What we've done in other places unchecked.
But sir,
variety
Dr.
of
West,
other empires
Dr.
do
West,
that.
It won't even let him talk. Won't even let him answer. Won't even let him answer.
You have to point it out.
Look, I respect you. You know, I love you. But I do think it's inappropriate to compare the Russian bombing of Grozny and what we witnessed there with the war in Iraq.
Yeah, I do think it's inappropriate to compare those two things, considering how much worse and more horrific the Iraq war was, based entirely on fraudulent lies. You know, the shock and awe campaign in Baghdad against civilians. 32 million refugees were created because of the Iraq and Afghanistan, the war on terror. 32 million people, 32 million refugees. No, we can't compare that. It's inappropriate to compare that to Grozny. Yeah, it is inappropriate. It's significantly worse and more destructive. Jesus Christ. Which CNN, of course, was a enthusiastic cheerleader for. Which was an enthusiastic supporter and a big part of like manufacturing consent for the fucking rabid, violence-crazed hogs of America that were baying for blood in those months. CNN probably supported bombing Grozny at the time, and most likely, I'm willing to say yes to that without really looking into it. I'm sure the US government was really against that at the time. We can look at the stern denunciations of that I'm sure are still out there. Talking over him, asking if he's out of his mind, but you see this weird white-oid talking that just loves him. Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm here trying to frame you like a crazy person for making basic factual arguments about the role that America has played in Ukraine and elsewhere around the world, or the role that NATO has played. But I just love you, sir. Grozny was bad, but Chechnya was part of Russia proper. No shit, they would not accept their independence. And, like, none of these arguments are to suggest that, like, Putin hasn't been violent or that Russia hasn't been violent in these places. In Grozny, in Chechnya, or in Syria, you know? But again, you look at Syria. Why were they in Syria in the first place? Well, it was because there was this proxy war going. Does this sound familiar? Because there was this proxy war going on in Syria with CIA armed and trained reactionary forces trying to overthrow and destabilize the government, which, as we've talked about before, was home to one of Russia's, or two, warm water naval bases. That's why they were in Russia in the first place, bombing places and doing violent stuff in Aleppo or wherever else. This is what I mean. It's like when this is discussed, the role of America, of NATO, of Western imperialism is just completely evaporated. These people just don't see it. I mean, maybe they do see it and they're just lying. Maybe they're just paid not to see it. Maybe they're just true believers and they really don't see the American power being projected in all of these cases that they're talking about. You know, it's just this refusal to acknowledge America's role in any of these conflicts. America's role, as Cornel West points out, as the largest empire in human history. By far and away, the largest and most heavily armed military force in history. And they just refuse to see the role that it plays in these conflicts around the world. Spooked up for sure. Definitely. He's on his Operation Mockingbird shit. This is about treating West like the audience treats their crazy leftist kids at Thanksgiving. Yeah, and he does get a little flustered as well. And he won't let him fucking answer the question, which he never, ever does to any, like, establishment politician. Maybe some of these Trump people, because they really found these Trump people detestable. Looking forward to having this exact same argument in 2 years over Taiwan. Exactly. I'm really looking forward to all that. Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to relitigate all of these things we've spent the last 2 years talking about. Isn't he the one who said he tried to work for the CIA? No, that was, what's his name? Tucker Carlson. Maybe Cooper has some CIA contacts as well. I'm sure he probably does. Yeah, but Tucker Carlson tried to work for the CIA and was rejected. He was rejected.
To say that innocents are killed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the horrible things happen.
Half a million Iraqis killed, my brother.
Well,
500,000.
Yeah, listen, I was there. I mean, I
was there supporting it.
I certainly understand.
I was there supporting it and manufacturing consent for that thing, which makes me privy to the mass murder campaign, by the way. If you're a politician or a media figure and you're over there helping manufacturing consent for this absolute barbarity, you're complicit. You're complicit in these crimes. And again, like we've talked about, we're not just talking about the people that were killed. And that the number depends on who's counting, you know? Was it 500,000? Was it 1 million civilians? I mean, people have different figures about this. I think the U.S. government says, like, oh, it was like maybe a couple hundred people or something like that. Obviously false. But the thing I always fixate on, though, 32 million refugees. Like, these refugees from these American wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and NATO wars in Libya and Syria, 32 million refugees. These refugees are still, to this day, washing up on the shores of the Mediterranean or the Thames or whatever. Like, that's such an astonishingly huge number of people that were victimized by these American wars that Anderson Cooper has wholeheartedly supported.
I also saw a lot of Americans getting killed, and I saw, the horror.
Oh, I saw the Americans getting killed. Well, what were they doing? Why were they getting killed? Maybe it's because they were invading another country. Maybe that had something to do with that. Maybe if you don't, here's my big tip. Here's my big pro tip. People really hate this. Okay? The bad guys really hate this. If you don't want American troops to die, don't put them in harm's way by dumping them into this fucking country that has nothing to do with them halfway around the world to invade a country and shoot a bunch of kids and civilians and ransack museums and fucking destroy the whole country and turn it into a hotbed of terrorism and sectarian violence. And then they're going to be fine. You invade the country. Oh, they're killing us. They're killing us. Well, don't invade the country then. Stay home. They killed our Nazi death squads. Can you believe these barbarians?
Of Saddam Hussein.
Unbelievable.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's accurate to compare the pummeling of a city by Russian artillery with civilians inside, pummeling every single day with the intention of just destroying and flattening a city, with actions the U.S. took. I mean,
what? Am I fucking insane? I feel like I'm insane right now. I just don't think it's appropriate to carry repeatedly bombing a city where there were civilians. Can you believe this?
So far, of course, we do not know the fate of Saddam Hussein. Lots of rumors that he was injured in the first night of attacks. Just a little while ago,
let's go back at this clip from Little Known News Network called CNN.
Exactly what happened to him, what his whereabouts may be, as well as the top advisors close to him. No final word on that at this hour, as this campaign appears to be.
It is gaslighting.
A-Day, the start of A-Day, the start of the campaign called Shock and Awe.
We use smart bombs. Those are smart bombs. Surgical precision on these smart bombs.
As many as 3,000 Tomahawk cruise missiles.
How many?
Satellite-guided precision bombs, laser-guided bombs.
The precision bombs. There it is.
Military targets, not only
genocide. But we're the genocide deniers, though. We're the genocide deniers for pushing back on like narratives about other countries that are being promoted by think tanks sponsored by Raytheon.
Standby. CNN's Martin Savage is also in southern Iraq. We interrupted him earlier. Marty, the U.S. troops.
Can you believe that someone would compare the bombing of Grozny to the war in Iraq?
Play the clip where Anderson said Trump became president by launching a missile on Syria.
Yeah, we should look at that one as well. This is the day he truly became president. I thought that was maybe Jake Tapper, though. But it's a good point, Blueberry, and thank you for the 31 months of Prime. Thank you. We can check that out after. Yeah. Yeah, can you believe? I just don't think it's appropriate to compare the bombing of Grozny to what America did in Iraq. Literally a shock and awe bombing campaign on Baghdad, which CNN covered and supported and turned into living room entertainment.
Last night, we were up moving into the attack positions with the ground forces as they were preparing to head into southern Iraq.
And yes, the shock and awe campaign was significantly worse than the bombing of Grozny, or what happened in Chechnya, or what happened in Georgia, or what happened in Crimea, or what happened in Ukraine, or what happened in Aleppo, or any of these other places where you're going to point the finger about what Russia's done. This was worse. This was significantly worse.
From that vantage point, they could look out over all of northern Kuwait. It is now estimated that that was hit so badly by missiles and by artillery and by the Air Force that they shaved a couple of feet off of that hill. And anything that was up there...
Expect to get some more specific information at that briefing.
And look, you got the four quadrants, so you can see all the bombs hitting on from the comfort of your own home. From the comfort of your home, you can look at all the bombs landing, all the destruction, while you're sucking down a cheeseburger or something. It's so inappropriate to make this comparison. I honestly feel like I'm losing my fucking mind looking at that.
Going on, at least in downtown Baghdad. What I've seen is an obviously alerted Iraqi air defense system with anti-aircraft fire going up in the air. Now, what you see on this anti-aircraft fire is you see tracers going up in the air. The tracer ratio is normally 1 to 7, so you are seeing 1.
The U.S.'s primary tactic in every war it's fought since World War II has been saturation bombing. Yeah, look at like Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam. Even in the anti-ISIS campaign, if you can call it that, the U.S. flattened major Syrian cities, these ancient historic cities, to rubble, and they're still not restored. Yeah, but of course we hold up like Putin and Aleppo or whatever as being this example of his horrible criminality.
With anti-aircraft, hoping that airplanes
Korea as well, yes, absolutely.
Will run into the shells or be damaged by the flak. Any one of those shells, any single one of them, can bring down an American or coalition airplane. Well, so this is dangerous stuff. But I also don't see any tracking fire. I don't see any fire that's tracing across the sky following an aircraft, indicating to me they're not seeing anything on their radar. And further, I have
minutes or hour or so, CNN has confirmed this.
Troops fell back to actually defend Kirkuk.
Oh, here we go. Here's the footage from CNN that Anderson Cooper thinks is inappropriate. It's inappropriate to compare this, what America did right here, which was covered and enthusiastically covered and supported by CNN, with Putin's actions in places like Ukraine or Grozny or wherever else.
Jamie, these are shots being fired now in Baghdad. I want our viewers to listen in.
You can't compare that to us bombing a city filled with civilians. What is this? What are we looking at here? I don't think there are TOS concerns in this. They're not going to show any like graphic like bodies or anything like that. And it's the fucking news. I mean, if it's on CNN, we should be able to look at it on Twitch. This was broadcast live on CNN to the delight of their millions of viewers. Thank goodness all the Iraqi civilians went to stay at their friend's place out of the city before the bombs dropped. That's right. But really, I mean, America announced that they were going to bomb Baghdad, and they gave Saddam time to leave. So really, any one of the millions of civilians that were still there, they must support Saddam and like Saddam. So it means that they kind of deserve it. It's inappropriate. This is what Anderson Cooper says. It's inappropriate to compare Russia's actions in Grozny or Ukraine with America's role in Iraq. It's inappropriate, he says. What a disgrace. Jesus Christ. The smug look on his face.
You know, the horrors of Saddam Hussein. I'm just saying, I was there with troops. I certainly understand. I also saw a lot of Americans getting killed, and I saw, you know, the horrors of Saddam Hussein. I'm just saying, I don't think it's accurate to compare the pummeling of a city by Russian artillery with civilians inside, pummeling every single day with the intention of just destroying and flattening a city, with actions the U.S. took. I mean, I don't know. Look, you know, wars, horrible things happen in wars, and it's horrible. War, that's
and the U.S. bombed Serbian cities as well. Yeah. Why are we watching Russia bomb Iraq at the famous Russian invasion of Iraq in 2003? I don't know. Yeah, we were significantly worse. Significantly worse.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know, and I know any comparative analysis of levels of barbarity and cruelty is going to lend itself to this ugly algebra of blood that we don't want to get into. But all I'm saying is you can't just jump into a situation where people are being treated barbarically. There's no doubt that Ukrainian people are being treated in a barbaric way.
And so were the people in the Donbass, the civilians in the Donbass, who were being bombed by the Kiev regime with bombs supplied by the United States of America, which was covered on CNN. And that was barbaric as well. We can acknowledge the violence that Russia has unleashed in Ukraine, and we can and should do that. But that was also barbaric. The bombing and shelling of civilians in this region, CNN covered it in like 2014, 2015, with full political and military support from the United States. These civilians were being bombed for years prior to the invasion of Ukraine. Covered on CNN.
There's no doubt about that. But the context is one in which that did not have to be if the expansion of NATO, and NATO is an arm of the American global power network. It's just a fact.
What you're saying, though, in Ukraine is that the Ukrainians, they're just going to have to compromise and give up their land because they're just in the wrong place.
No, I'm not saying that.
The compromise and give up their land, again, the land that we're talking about here is occupied by people who have been getting bombed and shelled by the Kiev regime, by Ukraine. They're Ukrainians that have been getting bombed and killed by the Ukraine government for years, which has been covered on this very network, on CNN. People who, when Russia did invade Ukraine, were fucking thrilled. Whether you like it or not, there were people in that region, and Anderson saying, they're going to compromise and give up their land to Russia. There's people in that region that were fucking thrilled when Russia invaded Ukraine. We're like, what took so long? What took you so long here? What have you been waiting for? We've been getting bombed and murdered for the last 10 years. That's the land that they're talking about compromising with Russia to give up. The people that live on that land were getting blown up and murdered and assassinated by the Ukrainian government, sponsored by the Americans, funded by the Americans, and armed by the Americans.
You said there have to be hard compromises on all sides. You said there have to be hard compromises. You said there have to be compromises on all sides.
He will not let him talk. What a
compromise for
prick.
Ukraine means Crimea. It means whole parts of their east. Is that fair?
Well, I mean,
here's what's going on in the east. Let's look to Putin propaganda network, CNN. This is kind of one of these like gray zone style tanky Putin propaganda networks. Let's go to CNN and let's look at some of the people that live on this land, which you're talking about, that's now might have to be compromised and given over to Russia as part of this conflict.
Petro Poroshenko will have a hard time winning back hearts and minds in this city.
This was years before this invasion happened.
Debris of their homes and livelihoods, they are hardened against a president they say is killing his own people. We are Ukrainian, but they kill us, this man says. So we probably need our
Who's
own
killing you? The Russians? No, the Ukrainian government.
They are not brothers for us. The shells hit these homes days ago.
I'm just asking people to remind themselves when we hear this argument about like, oh, you're asking Ukrainians who are being invaded to give up their land. This is the land that we're talking about. These are the people that were living here. This was 10 years ago. On CNN, the very network now that's making these fucking arguments. I'm just asking people that please like understand what this means. When people like Anderson Cooper make these kinds of claims, you're asking them to live that they're invaded and they have to give up their land. This is what was going on this land that you claim to care about. Years prior to the invasion.
But the tears are still fresh.
And of course, this all gets dismissed as well by like people that say like, oh, these are just Russian proxies. They're just Russian proxies. They're people. They're just people. They're civilians. They're moms and kids and grandmas and grandpas and fucking civilians.
Sorry, I need to go.
And yet, that's a good point too, Crad Babes. Ask Anderson Cooper if the Palestinians should make compromises with Israel.
And the other 34-year-old woman, her husband, who won't talk to us, he says he's in shock.
Crazy to see this kind of Russian propaganda.
With their little child.
This kind of evil Russian propaganda network. This should get flagged for disinformatia.
Over and over in dozens of apartment blocks with civilians being killed by the constant shelling around Donetsk. The city's trauma hospital is filled with a civilian wounded, shrapnel embedded in the flesh and bone of market sellers' legs.
This is the land. This is the land that Anderson Cooper's talking about. You're asking Ukrainians to give up their land? This is what was going on there 10 years ago. Yeah, listen to the Ukrainians about this. Not these ones, though, of course. These are just Russian proxies, and it's good when they get blown up.
To indiscriminate artillery shells. Switching to the Ukrainian language, she makes a heartrending plea to the president. We used to dance, sing, do everything in Ukrainian, she says. Poroshenko, Mr. Poroshenko, please listen to us. Why don't you understand your people? Be a man, be human. Please stop your aggression. Stop this war. But there is little sign of that. This once thriving city is now half empty, its railway station bombed. The forces unleashed by this conflict, greater perhaps than Mr. Poroshenko can control. Diana Magne, CNN, Donetsk, Ukraine.
And again, we were arming and funding and training the people that were carrying out these attacks. And that's who we're talking about. When Anderson Cooper is talking about the land that Ukraine might have to give up to Russia, that's the land that they're talking about. That's how much the actual like right-wing Ukrainian nationalists that are part of the Ukrainian political and military establishment, that's how much they care about their fellow Ukrainians that live in that land. They've been bombing and murdering them for years prior to this.
Well, I don't know. I want to just peace for my Ukrainian brothers and sisters.
See, so Cooper repeatedly badgers Cornel West to the point that he like can't fucking say anything, and he gets flustered, and now it's like, yeah, now you look like you're crazy and incoherent. Like, you might as well just take this pause face here, just put that on the CNN clip. This is the exact feeling that they want to try to put out there about this.
And I don't want World War III. I don't want World War III. The way that we're moving now, we got 3,000 advisors, well, we heard that in Vietnam. We're on the way to possible nuclear exchange. How ugly. Here we got Trump pushing us toward the second civil war at home. You got Biden pushing us toward a third world war abroad. We need an alternative. That's what this campaign's probably about, my brother.
Dr. West, I appreciate your time tonight, as always.
Oh, I love you, though.
No,
yeah.
indeed. Love you. Even when we disagree. Love you, man.
That's all. It was fun and games. God, what a fucking infuriating clip that was. Oh my God. I was pretty little tired and hungover today, and that really got the blood up, got the adrenaline pumping watching that. It's just a disgrace. I mean, this is what we like. This is exactly, I think, why we like to talk about this stuff on the show, because we talk about the role, we talk about propaganda, right? And we have this idea, we talk about, how folks like Anderson Cooper or whoever else, they don't view the role of American power, they don't view imperialism, it just disappears and it becomes this kind of like invisible thing that they refuse to acknowledge. They also refuse to acknowledge the fact that it's a deeply propagandized society and that CNN is a central cog as part of this propaganda apparatus that includes all mainstream media, all corporate media, Fox and CNN and MSNBC. But they refuse to acknowledge that. That's the main argument. We want to de-escalate. They want to rush headfirst into World War III. And that's the thing, Matt, is like he doesn't allow him to make that argument. He's like, well, all we can do is escalate. We can't de-escalate because blah, 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 because we can't trust Putin, because we're asking Ukrainians to give up their land after they've been invaded. And it's like, you can't. He's literally saying the only possible alternative is further escalation, non-stop military aid, more violence, pushing all the way up to World War III. And like, that's the only solution. And anytime someone's trying to make an argument against that, you have Anderson Cooper badgering them until they fucking get flustered. And then he has this smug look like he's accomplished something. Yeah, and of course not saying anything about domestic policy as well. Or we're talking about the multitudinous failures of the Biden administration. This clip made me broach the topic again with my dad. This is important work that West is doing. He did kind of get flustered a little bit. Fucking enraging, folks. And you know what? That's exactly why we need more commentary and coverage of this conflict and other similar subjects on programs like TRRS. Now, folks, I gotta go soon. I have to go pick up my kid from camp pretty soon. I'm gonna stick around for another 15-20 minutes or so. We're at 8 out of 35 subs today. But folks, if this CNN clip enrages you like it enraged me, well, you know what? One thing that we need to support, if you are disgusted by this kind of like vile, obvious propaganda, one thing that we need to support is the continued existence of programs just like this one on twitch.tv. So please, folks, if you can, subscribe to TRRS. It's $5 per month. It's completely free of charge with an Amazon Prime account. Help me make my little number go up. The only way I'm able to do this program, which again is not sponsored by arms manufacturers or whoever else, vile state actors or propagandists or imperialists that pay for corporate media such as CNN. The only way that this show is able to remain on the air is through the extremely generous contributions of the TRRS community members. So if you can, please subscribe. The only way I can do the show is if the little number goes up a little bit every day. Ideally, it should go up all the way. I mean, that's the ideal scenario. But folks, if you can, support TRRS with $5 per month. You support me.
You can count
you join
on
the
me.
community.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And you get access to some of the very best tiny little images on this entire platform. Trideen, thank you for the 4 months tier 1. Thank you for that. Do any brave and generous heroes want to step to the plate and help me make the number go up just a little bit more? I must make number go up. I must make number go up. You can help me do that. Oh, it's getting hot. It's getting hot up here. This shirt does not... I like this shirt, but it doesn't breathe.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It doesn't breathe at all. Sorry, Rob. We just have to send another 1.3 billion to Zelensky. God damn it. Adrienne Vixen, thanks for the gifted sub. Your very first gifted sub in the channel. Adrienne, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Oh. I did try to find, like Blueberry pointed out a couple minutes ago, tried to find the clip about Trump launching missiles on Syria and the way that they media immediately turned around on him once he supported that. I can't find the exact clip that today was the day he became president. I couldn't find that clip. I think that was Van Jones. Someone was saying, yeah, it wasn't even Jake Tapper or Anderson Cooper. It was fucking Van Jones.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Make number go up like the blood pressure while watching CNN.
Oh, thank you, Useless. Thank you, Useless, for the 700 friend coin. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, Useless teammate. Very much appreciate that. Do any other brave and generous chatters want to step to the plate and support this program before I have to go today? I just don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to sway or dance or do any of that stuff.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
My goodness. Some new community members really showing up today and supporting the channel. That is so fucking cool. Trideen, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Congratulations to you. Thank you and congratulations, because not only did you just support me and the work that I do here on Twitch, which I appreciate.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
You also instantly rocketed right up to the elite tier of the Friendship Triangle system. That's Twitch's only 2-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down cloud tiered reward system. Instantly rocketed right up to the very top of that. Thank you again, Trideen, and thank you as well, Jeremiah.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Jeremiah, for the 100 friend coin, and thank you, Pathogen, for the 3 gifted subs as well. Thank you, Pathogen. Now, we do have a hype train going, folks. We do have a hype train. More like Anderson Pooper. Oh, my. This is a family program, Pathogen. I appreciate the support, but we don't... Remember, there are little kids watching this show. We want to avoid that kind of real harsh language and vile personal attacks. So can you help me finish out the week strong, folks? I'm going to be back tomorrow. That's going to be the last episode of TRRS for about 10 days. What the... What is that? Why is that image there? What is going on with that? Do you folks see that? That's not just me, right? I'm not just the one seeing that. Right? You see an image of me in the sub goal thing, right? I'm not just hallucinating that, right? That's the sub goal. That's the sub goal element in my OBS. What the fuck is that? I didn't even touch it. I didn't even click anything. I didn't even touch anything. I literally did not even touch anything on my screen. And the sub goal just morphed into an image of myself. Oh, is that you, Lodane? Are you trying... Lodane's trying to fix it. Okay. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, we're Rob out of Rob subs. There we go. Goodness gracious. Folks, we do have a hype train going now. And even though there's no sub counter, I believe it's at 18. Putin is inside the computer. It's okay, Lodane. That was actually quite funny. I'm just happy it was
count on
you.
me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I'm happy it was at least you. I thought that just randomly happened. Thank you very, very much, Old Dutch, for the gifted sub and for all the support. Thank you. To our friend Carnoba. I believe that's 19. Now we got 2 minutes to go through this hype train, folks. Does any other brave hero want to step to the plate and support this program? You know, it would be nice if I got invited onto CNN. I could talk about Russia and Ukraine. I've spent hours and hours and hours thinking about analyzing this, talking about it. I would be happy to go on CNN, NBC, CBC, Global News, CTV, whatever it is, like in Canadian media especially. I would be happy to. I would be happy to articulate all the things I've been talking about today in these media appearances, in these mainstream media outlets. No one is inviting me to do that, though, precisely because they don't want to have this viewpoint on their network. And when they do, they treat it like Anderson Cooper just treated Cornel West. I'm not being invited onto these networks, folks. I only do this commentary right here on Twitch, and the only way that I'm able to continue doing it is through the incredibly generous support of this community. So do any other brave heroes and supporters want to step to the plate and support this program? 50 seconds left through level 3.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
75% of the way. 2023, more like 1984. Thank you for the 500 friend coin. Very much appreciated.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Useless.
Rob putting those CNN on their place, LFG.
Thank you, Useless, for another 300 friend coin. That's very, very kind of you. I really appreciate it. 25 seconds left, folks. 83% of the way to level 4. One sub is going to get us across to this next level. One measly sub.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sikalufakis, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Really, really appreciate the gifted sub. Sikalufakis, thank you. And I believe that's 20. I believe that's 20. Which is fantastic. But are there any other brave, selfless heroes that would like to support this channel and the work that I do here on twitch.tv? Huh? Do I need to do the face thing? The face thing is such a gamble. The face thing is such a gamble because I know one time it's not going to work and I'm going to be stuck. And I'm going to be stuck there doing that face for like however many minutes and then I'm going to have to just stop doing it in shame. If you replace the sub gunner with the Rob that got bigger with every slub, I think you'd break your daily goal twice over daily. That would actually be a pretty funny gimmick. I don't know if I want to do the face. It's too risky. I know one time it's going to blow up right in front of me, right in front of my face, as it were. What do you think, folks? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Is this someone that you want to spend $5 supporting their work on twitch.tv? Look at this face. Look at this heroic grimace. Exactly. When is the hot tub stream? I mean, I've been very clear about this. The hot tubs that
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Sag Passions, for the 6 months of Prime. Thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I've been very clear, folks. The hot tub stream. Fuck. The hot tub stream will come when I crack the 4-digit sub benchmark. And we're still a ways away. We should do a hot tub panel on Kick. That would be subversive. Whole hot tub panel of all the Marxist dads on streaming. All the Marxist streamer dads. What do you say, folks? 1 minute left. Getting excessively red and sunburnt together. That's right. Despite it being an overcast day. It do be like that. It do be like that. 1 minute left, folks.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Jeremiah, thank you for the 20 months tier 1. Thank you, Jeremiah, for the support. Hot tub in a bunker. Hoja tubbing. There we go. I like that. Love that, actually. Thank you for supporting the stream, folks. I really, really, really appreciate everyone that tunes into this program. And I especially appreciate everyone who supports this channel and supports the work that I do here. By subbing and gifting subs. It really, really does mean a lot to me that there's people out there that are doing that. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's all. That's all, folks. Who do we got?
Yeah. Okay, Skid can type in also.
Yeah.
Although it'd be good if someone in chat who's non-VIP, non-one, could do that for us too. Just type anything, it doesn't matter. Okay. So.
Thanks again, friends. Have a good one, okay? I'll be back tomorrow. That'll be the last stream of the week. And I'll be off for about 10 days. And the stream will be back on July 31st. Okay? I'll be gone tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. Off the next day. Back on July 31st. Looking forward to a less neuromancery future together. It would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice to have a slightly less neuromancery future. So thanks again, friends. Come back tomorrow. Okay, come back to say goodbye tomorrow. 12 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. Give my regards to our friend Hildy Beast. And I'll see you folks soon. Alright? Okay. Goodbye.